kaibigan, welcome again to In My Toolbox, your weekly talk show on your personal finance here at PHLV Radio. Wala pong iba ha. PHLV Radio lang po tayo. The goal of this show definitely is to give you financial information that you may be able to use on your day-to-day financial decisions. Ayan naman. So we will unbox topics that will hopefully aid you and guide you and maybe even add to your financial tools. So we will tackle important information mostly not taught in school, but is so much needed to empower you financially. Ganyan naman talaga ang ating episode, guys. We're gonna be here to teach you, guide you, aid you on your financial decisions. You know, as usual, in any idea that will transpire in this show, always consult with your financial advisors, insurance professionals, or tax consultants. Again, my name po is Enrico Pobre, your host. Of course, I'm a sales, marketing, and trainer, an economist, an entrepreneur, and a financial professional as well. Guys, if you have questions, ask them away on the chat box below. But if you will be listening to this episode on a later time, please feel free to connect with me through Facebook. Ang ating pong Facebook page is In My Toolbox, or connect with me via Instagram or LinkedIn, or just simply Google my name, Enrico Pobre. You'll find a lot of ways on how to connect with me. Or you can email me at enrico.inmytoolbox@gmail.com. Ayan naman mga kaibigan. So, for this episode, mga kaibigan, we're gonna be talking about a very good topic called life settlement. If this is your first time to hear that, that's okay. You know, you and me will be able to unlock or unleash what life settlement is all about. Ako rin, I'm not so good of this life settlement up until I studied it. It's actually very nice to add on to our knowledge about finances. So let's just go dive down to the topic, mga kaibigan. So let's just ask the question first. What is insurable interest? Ayan. Tawag dito, insurable interest. Ang ibig daw po sabihin ng insurable interest, it is an essential requirement for issuing an insurance policy that makes the entity or event legal. So, ibig sabihin, dapat daw po, you know, it has to have a valid reason for a person to insure somebody. Yun daw pong ibig sabihin nun. And of course, ito pong insurable interest it's going to protect you against intentionally harmful act. Ganun yan, you know. So, yan po ang ating insurable interest. So, people not subject to financial loss do not have an insurable interest. That's another thing. Dapat daw, meron siyang financial loss para masabi na that doesn't have an insurable interest. So therefore, a person or an entity cannot purchase an insurance policy to cover themselves if they are not actually subject to the risk of a financial loss. Just to make sure that it's clear, you know, that's what insurable interest. So why we're talking about this one? Ang life settlement po kasi is about life insurance. So dapat meron ko pong insurable interest to be able to get that policy, you know. So I just want to make sure that, you know, we start off with our topic with the insurable interest, so we're all in the same page. Now, the next question is, why do we want to talk about life settlement? Kasi po, you know, in 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court declared that your life insurance is your personal property and that you can assign its ownership at your discretion. Ang galing, ano? So, ibig sabihin, yung life insurance daw po pala, if you guys have a life insurance, it means that it is your personal property. So, if it's a personal property, you can assign who can actually own that property. Galing, ano? So, it actually was a part of the U.S. reports, Grigsby versus Russell, 222 U.S. 149. This is actually based on a 1911 case, no? So, nung sinabi po ng U.S. Supreme Court yan, it actually unlocked another option for policyholder. So, if you are a policyholder of a life insurance, it actually unlocks something else with regard to that life settlement, because there actually is an opportunity behind this one. So that's the thing that I would want to talk to you guys about and understand. So yung life settlement opportunity is actually an alternative to lapsing their life insurance. Kasi sometimes po, if you have a life insurance policy and you can no longer, fund it for whatever reason, you try to lapse it. Ibig sabihin, you just let it go up until, wala nang effectivity yung life insurance mo. Now, this Supreme Court that I told you a while ago, the decision of that Supreme Court gave policy owners power of control. Ano po tong power of control? Insurance is regulated on a state basis. So, depending on the state you live in, there may be different laws surrounding that life settlement transaction. So, hindi kaya ko lang po binabanggit ito, while it's so true that there is a court decision, again, it's still a state decision. Ang life settlement po kasi na gusto natin pag-usapan today is a transaction regulated by state or a state insurance department. At the moment, siguro you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. There's about 44 states that's usually okay sa mga ganitong klaseng life settlement. So, etong mga ibang state na it has to have a provision that requires to itong mga carriers ng life insurance to disclose the settlement option to individuals who are aged over 60 years old, who are known by the insurer na to be terminally ill or chronically ill, or who considering surrendering their policies. So, kailangan daw po itong provision na to in other states like Kentucky, Maine, New Hampshire, Oregon, or Washington, or Wisconsin. Ito po yung 6 out of those 50 states. Pero 44 states is already been regulated anyway. Pero that's besides the point. Ang ibig lang pong sabihin natin na gusto natin mangyari dito is for you and me to understand what life settlement is all about. Kanina sinimulan po natin yung discussion with regard to what the insurable interest. So, ibig sabihin, when you buy life insurance, there should be an insurable interest. Okay? So, number 2, ano po yung court decision that says that life insurance is actually an asset or a personal property that you can assign the ownership of a life insurance to anybody that you desire to. So, ngayon, pinag-uusapan na po natin bakit itong life settlement. This is the reason why, and this is the connection. A life settlement po kasi is a sale of a life insurance policy. So, binebenta po natin yung life insurance policy natin. So, it's a sale of a life insurance policy by the policy owner to a third party. Yun po ang ibig sabihin ng life settlement. What? Pwede pala nating ibenta yung ating life insurance. Pwede po. Kasi ang sabi ng Supreme Court decision na yon, you can actually consult this one to your lawyers, if what it actually means. Na ibig sabihin na ang life insurance policy it can be sold by the policy owner to a third party. The seller kasi po, typically po, gets more than the cash surrender value of the policy, but it's less than the amount of the death benefit. So, when you sell your life insurance policy to a third party, okay, now, of course, the ownership changes. Magiging owner na yung third party. Now, they can sell it more than the cash value, pero less than the death benefit. So I'll discuss more of that later on. I just want to make sure that you guys understand what life settlement is. So now, the third party continues to pay the policy premium and then collects the death benefit when the insured dies. Ganun po ibig sabihin. So, sino po yung magka-qualify? We'll talk about that later on. Although dun sa 1911 U.S. Supreme Court ruling that they established the precedent that life insurance is privately owned property, yung sinasabi ko po sa inyo kanina, it was actually until the mid-1980s nung actually pinush nila ito. Because of what? Because of the AIDS pandemic. Doon na po sila nabuhay ang idea about life settlement. Because during that pandemic of the AIDS, the marketing for transferring of the ownership of this life insurance was actually naging marami. It became so many. Nagkaroon ng interest dahil nga because of the AIDS pandemic at the time. Pero dapat kasi talaga noong una, tinitingnan lang nila yung terminally and chronic. Pero pumasok itong pandemic na to, that's another level. So, yung mga patients could sell their policies to a third party for cash, and that what is actually known to be a viatical settlement. So that's another story that I'm going to talk to you guys about later on, but that's what it means by, life settlement. Iba rin naman po yung viatical settlement, pero we'll discuss that later on. So basically, just going back to a life settlement, it is a technical term. Again, life settlement is a technical term for selling your life insurance. Again, selling your life insurance to an investor. Okay? Or investors. Meron tayong ganyan. So, life insurance is an asset which can be just sold para siyang property mo. Parang bahay mo o parang kotse mo. You can actually sell your life insurance. So, today, thousands of people or senior citizens, what I mean, are selling their life insurance policies already in exchange to a cash money. Many use the cash to maybe help them towards to paying whatever end of life or long-term care costs. Pwede yon. When the insured sells their life insurance policy to an investor, yung pera pwede po nilang gamitin for to somebody to take care of themselves, for somebody to take care of them, or a lot more, even something for other expenses that may incur during those times that terminally ill na sila or chronically ill. So that's what you can use your life insurance for. Tinatawag nating life settlement. I'll give you an example. So for example, Jane is an 85-year-old. She owns $1 million life insurance policy, and she has developed chronic health problems. And now she needs nursing care. Okay, so that's one example. So Jane decides to sell her policy instead of continuing to pay for that life insurance premium. So what Jane did, she sold her life insurance of $1 million, right, to a third party. Now she will then use the cash that that's going to be exchanged to that policy to pay for her long-term care. Pwedeng ganon. Yun ang example ng life settlement. That's the reason why they're selling it. Of course, kailangan nila ng cash money. Or another typical life settlement transaction. For example, there's a policy amount of $1.5 million in yung kanyang life insurance policy. Now, kung sinurrender nila yon, if that person surrenders the insurance policy using a cash surrender value, probably the $1.5 million death benefit has a $91,000 cash surrender value. Example lang ito . So, instead of getting that cash value of $91,000, to cancel that policy, kunin ko na lang yung aking cash value na $91,000. Some people opt it to what? To sell their life insurance to a third party. So yung $1.5 million na yon, it can be exchanged to a $540,000 of life settlement. See, instead of getting the $91,000 the cash value, they sell this policy, this 1.5 to a $540,000. Ganon yung ibig sabihin ng life settlement. So, of course, when you look at that, this can be, this story is actually probably applicable to you or somebody that that has a life insurance like that, So they can actually sell the $1.5 million life insurance policy to a $540,000 rather than getting a $91,000 cash value. So I'll give you another life settlement transaction. So if there is a person who has $1 million life insurance policy, say for example, ang cash surrender value niya is $32,000. Now, instead of getting that $32,000 because you need the money, some companies will actually offer you, okay, I'll buy your $1 million policy for $270,000 cash money. Are you okay with that? So yun po ang some of the examples of the life settlement transaction. So that's actually an option for you. So basically, speaking of about options, guys, life settlement is actually an option. It's actually a great financial option for you if, number one, if you no longer need your life insurance policy. If you think that you don't need it, don't lapse it or don't surrender the policy. If you all you need to do is to get qualified for the life settlement. So if you qualify, you can get started on the path of selling that life insurance policy and receive a very fair market value in an upfront payout. So may mga computation po sila dyan with regard to the how much are you going to settle when you sell your life insurance policy. But you have to ask yourself, a question first, if it is actually right time for you to sell your life insurance policy. So you ask the questions like, are you wanting to lapse the policy? That's one question. Maybe the reason probably that you would want to lapse your policy maybe because it's getting too expensive. You're finding out that your life insurance premium is getting expensive for your capacity to pay it or to pay the premium because, of course, maybe one cost is going up or maybe you have another financial priorities, not your life insurance anymore. And many people turn to life settlements to cover that. For example, those expenses like medical expenses, those are the things. So if you think that you would like to lapse your policy because of those reasons, probably you would want to make to look at life settlement as an option. Another thing, probably you have to ask yourself, do I need funds today? And you have a life insurance. Of course, that life insurance, everybody knows, feel probably or presume that you can use that when you die. But there are other things that we can talk about, not dying, using life insurance. But just for this instance, you want to perhaps have a better retirement and you have a life insurance policy and you need an extra funds, so you can sell that policy to a life insurance, life settlement insurance, so you can only live once, so you want to make sure that you want to live it well. So that's an example of selling that life insurance policy. Or you have to have another question that you want to ask yourself. You maybe no longer need the policy. Yes, you can do that life settlement too, because the reason why probably you don't need all of those policies, maybe because you consider because your situation is all your kids are already all grown up and they're all financially independent. So probably that's the way you think. That's okay. And maybe ask yourself, do they still need you to continue to provide the safety net of your life insurance? If those are the questions already, yes, you can sell your life insurance policy. Ito yung mga tinatawag na self-qualifying questions if it's high time to sell your life insurance policy to a life settlement. So maybe even life insurance such as your corporate life insurance policies, such as Keyman policy, you can also use that. It can also be eligible for life settlements. See, marami po tayong pwedeng i-consider with regard to life settlement. But we just have to make sure, guys, that you understand this one. So, speaking about qualifying, so what are qualifying factors for a life settlement? Aside for those questions kanina that I asked or that I gave you, that you have to ask yourself, di ba tatlo yung question na yung kanina, you have to look at the qualifiers for a life settlement. Just because, you want to sell your life insurance doesn't necessarily mean that you can, Syempre may qualifying question. Oh, I have a life insurance right now, Enrico, I want to sell it. No, hindi po ganun kadali yan. It's not that easy. You have to make sure that you go to qualifying events for life settlement. Okay, so make sure that the transaction has to be on a good deal. For example, for those buyers of life insurance, make sure that it's a good deal. Hindi yung, for example, you have a $1 million policy, I'm terminally ill, I'm gonna sell it, but somebody is actually binabarat mo. Binabarat talaga, no? They're actually buying it too low for you to even consider selling it. For example, $1 million policy and then they want to buy it for $10,000. It doesn't make sense, right? So, parang ginigisa ka sa sarili mong mantika. Ano ba sa English yun? They're cooking you in your own cooking oil. Just kidding, guys. Okay. So, ibig sabihin, you want to make sure, guys, that when you sell your life insurance, it should be a good deal. For a life settlement to work for the buyers, they need to, of course, to know. It's just, it's just two-way street here. So they need to know that the cost of maintaining the premium payments will be economical as well. Siyempre, kung bibilin ako, siyempre, it's just a matter of making sure the math adds up, Siyempre, at the end of the day, kailangan both parties will be will benefit for the transaction. So those people who are buying the life insurance, they want to make sure that it's economical until that person passes away and they can collect that death benefit. So yun yung mga other qualifying factors. Another qualifier for life settlements, you want to make sure typically these people are if you are 65 or over, and syempre yung mga younger insured can also qualify, but that depends on their health. But usually 65 years old and above is a good qualifier. Am I 65 over? That's a good qualifier. Syempre it's all about life expectancy. That's the most important variable in, number one, buying your life insurance or you thinking of selling your life insurance. But of course, there's going to be a third party to determine that factor. I'll discuss that later on. So, and then the other qualifier for life settlement is the policy should be over $100,000 death benefit. Yun yung isa sa qualifier. Kasi other than that, policies smaller than this amount will actually be not worth the cost to transact from the buyer's perspective. So yung mga buyers na to, tinitingnan nila, number one, are you 65 over? Or for youngers, they're looking at life expectancy. Number two, the value of the life insurance to be bought or to be sold at least is over $100,000 in value. Now, the premium cost must be manageable by the buyer. Siyempre, it should be a decent, economical in the part of the buyer of the premium. Kasi syempre, when you sell your life insurance policy, somebody has to pay for the premium. It's not going to be you if you're going to be selling it. So you transfer that payment to the new owner. So ang question nun is it actually economical for them, or is the premium manageable for these buyers? And of course, all type of life insurance policies can be considered. Most type of policies can be eligible for a life settlement if you have a universal life policy, a whole life policy. Even term policies and variable policies can be a good qualifier for life settlement. Okay, so that's basically what life settlement is all about. But we're gonna dig deeper pa. Okay, so kanina we were thinking of, is it legal for somebody to buy a life insurance policy? So we were able to establish that is actually a U.S. Supreme Court decision starting in 1911. And then who can actually buy it? We already know anybody that can, third party can buy a life insurance policy, because sabi natin, life insurance property is what? Is a personal property, just like your house and your car. Now, kanina may qualifier din tayo, who is in the position to sell the life insurance. Now, ngayon naman, we're going to talk about after you sell your policy. So what do you get out of it? Of course, you get a cash payout, So when you sell the life insurance policy, you get that cash on your hand. It's a cash payout that you will receive at the time of the sale. Number two, after you sell policy, you no longer pay any more premiums. So of course, it stops. You transfer that to the new owner, which is a third party owner. You stop paying premium on the life insurance. Now, the purchaser of the premium will continue to make the payments for you directly to the insurance company, hindi syempre sa iyo. Akala mo makakaisa ka, No, it doesn't go to you. They will actually pay directly to the insurance company. And of course, number three, after you sell your policy, you have to understand that you are no longer covered by the policy. So once the policy is purchased, it belongs to the buyer. Upon the passing away of the policy's underlying insured person, the policy buyer is paid the benefit or the death benefit by the insurance company. So we know that part already, So that's what the underlying factors of life settlement. So, ang question dito, okay, Enrico, I understand the concept. So what is the average life settlement offer? So if I sell, what it means here, guys, is if I sell my life insurance, if I'm, if I qualify, if I see that I'm qualified to sell my life insurance to a third party, how much are they going to buy it? Yan. Kanina mga examples lang po yung kanina. But usually po, the average payout is 22% of the policy face amount. Okay? So usually, pero ako, syempre, you will go to a broker that will find a good, a good offer. Ganun naman yun, syempre, you're just like indirectly selling your life to somebody. So, usually, I usually tell people, oh, how much is your life worth? That's the life insurance policy that you buy. Sometimes I use that, but really, kidding aside, usually on the life insurance face amount or death benefit, they buy it 22% of the policy face amount. So for example, if you have $1 million policy, and then the settlement offer is about $220,000. Tama lang yon. That's a good offer for a life insurance settlement. So that's how you look at it, So basically, pag tinanong na natin kung magkano, kayo na po guys, you guys can actually ask yourself, how much is my life insurance kaya today? So how much is gonna be worth if I actually sell it? So ganun po ang ibig sabihin nun. So ngayon, a while ago, when I started the conversation, you heard two terminologies a while ago. A life settlement. And for some of you who are licensed life insurance agents that are listening to me, you may be asking a question. So, what's the difference between that life settlement and a viatical settlement? Again, viatical, hindi Viagra, viatical settlement. Okay? So, what's the difference between that? So, a viatical settlement kasi is also a sale of a life insurance. Again, a viatical settlement and a life settlement are actually a sale of a life insurance, okay? Now, a viatical settlement is a sale of a life insurance in exchange for an immediate payout. Pareho naman yon. There's an immediate payout. But the payout is almost always above the cash surrender value but below the death benefit amount. Parehas pa rin, di ba? Ng life settlement and the viatical. Now, the only thing that's actually going to separate the two is this part. To qualify for a viatical settlement, the insured on the policy, okay, is terminally ill with a life expectancy of under 2 years. Yan po yan. So this is opposed to the life settlement, which is the sale of a senior's life insurance who is not terminally ill. So nakita niyo na yung difference nun, guys. Yes, if a person is terminally ill, some people can sell their life insurance. Tawag dito is a viatical settlement. As long as pag sinabi nila the person is terminally ill, less than 2 years or less than 24 months, they can actually sell their policy, viatical settlement. Pero minsan kasi, meron na tayong mga tinatawag na bago na with regard to some new things with regard to life insurance, especially for those life insurance that has living benefits. If a person is diagnosed 24 months illness, some companies 12 months illness, terminally ill, or some companies are 6 months. That depends on the company. You can refer this to your life insurance agents, guys. If your policy has a living benefits, they can already advance your death benefit, with regard to a certain percentage of your total death benefit at the time that you were diagnosed of terminal illness, or you would want to accelerate the benefit of your life insurance. It could be even be bigger than viatical settlement. So sit down with your life insurance agent and understand it more. But for right now, for our topic, we go to the life settlement. This is now a sale of a senior's life insurance where this person is not terminally ill. So at least alam na natin, So again, do sa viatical settlement, your life insurance is an asset and the insured can actually sell it just like your house or your car. We talked about that a while ago. And then of course, in viatical settlement, they offer about 30 or 70% of the value of the insured life insurance death benefit. So makikita nyo, depends on the person or the company, who's actually buying it through a viatical settlement. So you would want to make sure that you sit down with the people that understand about this settlement. So, you get the most out of your life insurance, So the settlement offer does really differ from one policy to the other, and also one company to the other. So again, guys, at least you have something to think of or think about or ponder upon with regard to these types of settlements. Ang maganda rin lang dito, guys, is for you to understand that there is actually an option to your life insurance, not just because you want to lapse it or you stop paying it or just cancel it all in all, because there's such a thing that you would want to understand about viatical settlement, and now our topic about life settlement. So the overall process of the life settlement is from the time you start with talking to a broker, to our company, to the point of receiving the money. It takes about 3 to 8 weeks. Yan ang mga processing nila. So if you find somebody, a broker that you can sell, that you can use life settlement, the process takes about 3 to 8 weeks. And usually for this time frame, it's all about you. That's the reason why sometimes, it takes longer, because on how you and the company or the broker can work together. Because how quickly your life insurance company is willing to transfer ownership and beneficiary to the policy is actually, for you to push it. Hey, insurance company, I'm in this life settlement. I want to make sure that, I'll be able to do this as fast as I can, because, it should serve your purpose anyway of why you're doing the life settlement. Okay, so the life settlement process, as I mentioned a while ago, number one, you have to determine the eligibility. Are you eligible for life settlement? Determining the eligibility, getting a quote for your life insurance. You have to, of course, looking for brokers who's going to do this for you. Don't just stay with one company. Probably I would suggest look for 3 different companies so you can actually see who actually gives you better offer for this life settlement. Of course, you will need to answer those few questions about yourself. They will be asking those. Those are the part of the process, and they will tell you if you're actually eligible. So that's the first thing. Determine the eligibility of the life settlement process. So you go through that process first. It doesn't mean that you have a life insurance automatically you can sell it. That's what I told you a while ago. So number 2, connect with the right buyer. At least choose 3 companies that can, that you get the best offer out of your life insurance policy, because after they evaluate your policy, once they evaluate the policy and they see that you are actually eligible, the next step is they will actually connect you to a life settlement buyer who can give you a cash offer. Now, depending again on your the policy size. If it's 10 million, that's a different story. Number 2, it's your health condition. The policy buyer usually, they can obtain medical records. Of course, your medical records, and then they actually hire an underwriting team for life settlement to run your life expectancy. Guys, don't be it sounds weird, or I don't know if it's even morbid, for lack of better term. They can actually know more or less when you're gonna die. They hire this third-party company. Of course, it's not always going to be perfect, but of course, because of this actuarial numbers, they definitely more or less know when you're going to be dying because of your health situation, etc., your lifestyle, and that's where this buyer is going to be basing how much they can actually offer you because of this elements or factors to determine your life expectancy. And of course, all of these things are going to be in your involvement. You're not going to go through all of those process because there's somebody who's going to go work on those paperwork, scrutinize it, analyze it for you without disturbing you, or for the buyer for that matter. So these things can actually affect the value, the interest, or whatever that makes the offer. Okay, so that's the thing, guys. You have to make sure that you go to those process. The other thing that you need to do, aside from the eligibility and the second process, connecting to the right buyer. Now, if you decide to get for the right buyer of a life insurance, now you get paid. That's the most important thing. That's the reason why you're selling your life insurance anyway. So if you accept a life settlement offer, the policy buyer will facilitate the closing process. Para ka lang bumibili ng bahay, meron din siyang closing process. Here, when you finally found a buyer, now they process it. Now they do facilitate the closing process. Now, after that, once they facilitate it, they will be sending you a packet of documents to sign. You will sign this agreement of sale and the transfer of the ownership of the policy. So yun yung pangyayari. So you found a buyer, they facilitate the closing process. Now they will send you this packet for all of the signatures, these documents in short, and then you will sign those agreement and of course sign the policy ownership already. Once the documents are signed, the buyer will already pay you. That's where it is, They will fund it, pero it will go to an escrow account. So usually the escrow, they hire generally a large bank to do this escrow. So with that settlement amount, so they put it there. So of course, this process, when you put, I would, that's how I would want to do it. Somebody's going to be looking after of that money, and then I can actually verify if the money is already transferred and to whatever condition that you guys have. And now the license provider can request the policy's owner and beneficiary to be transferred from you to the buyer. So that actually ends the process of the life settlement, and you're done. Tapos na tayo. Once the insurance company transfers the ownership and beneficiary of the policy, an escrow agent now will release the money for the life settlement funds to you. So nilipat na. So that's the process, So you put the money they put the money into the escrow account. You sign all these documents, under whatever condition that is. Now they sign it. The insurance company officially transfers the ownership and the beneficiary to whoever they would want to put that into. Now once those documents are secured, and now the escrow releases that money to you, and you get paid, and you're done. Overall po mga kaibigan, the process of the life settlement, it could be easier, it could be hard as well. But then again, at the end of the day, this is just an option for you. Again, I just said it can be simple, it can be complicated, depends on the life settlement provider that you will be using. Of course, you want to choose someone who really understands what life settlement is all about, not just because they have a life insurance license, they already know life settlement. It doesn't work like that. One thing is to have a license. Number two, is to be subject matter experts as well. And number three, they know really how to execute life settlement transactions, So you want to make sure that they bring you to the right direction when you start doing this process. And of course, the right escrow account from this, you can validate the money at that time and ready to release. All of these things are just part of those movements or elements of making a life settlement work for your favor. So again, of course, this life settlement is also regulated by the insurance industry. So there's what you call a rescission period, and this means that you can actually have a certain number of days. Okay, again, certain number of days after you sell the policy and receive your settlement offer to change your mind. Yun naman yung protection natin with the insurance with the insurance department of insurance. I mean, that there's what you call your rescission period. That in some other aspects you call that elimination period or a look back, free look back. Now for life settlement you call it a rescission period. That they will give you a number of days that you may change your mind. You don't actually you want to do this. So during this period you can return the settlement offer and have your policy ownership transferred back to you and from the buyer. So all large institution life settlement buyers are familiar with this process. So this is not just something that Enrico actually is talking about. Okay, so it's actually just a protection that is being given to you by the Department of Insurance. Pamalay mo just you were selling your life insurance, but you actually won a lottery. I don't know. Whatever reason that you might have that you don't want to push through or push the life settlement, that's okay. So yan po ang ibig sabihin ng life settlement, guys, that you can have as an option, that when you need money, that you have a life insurance that you can sell, you can have that life option. Again, life settlement, it doesn't mean that you're selling this because you have 2 years or less than 2 years to live. That's viatical settlement. Ang life settlement naman, you don't have to be terminally ill to sell your life insurance. So I mentioned to you guys a little while ago that what are the qualifiers. Of course, going back to those qualifiers, you just have to ask yourself first, am I ready, or is this the right direction that I would want to take? Again, for life insurance agents, you might want to discuss this one as well to your clients, that there's such a thing as these options, just to help them understand the various ways on how to utilize life insurance policies and products. Kasi sometimes people just buy policies without even understanding it and what other options that they actually have. I think that's just fair enough for us to give due diligence in our fiduciary relationship with our clients. Okay, so guys, that's just it for our topic for tonight. This is a life settlement. It's a very good option if you need the funds. By the way, again, I cannot reiterate it enough. Go and seek assistance, or what you call this, answer these questions about life settlement to life insurance agents or life settlement brokers, and that matter, just to answer possible questions that you may have out of this topic. All right, mga kaibigan, hanggang ganito lang talaga tayo. That's actually just a short topic for this episode, but I hope it actually helped you with regard to your options. Magandang gabi ulit, mga kaibigan. My name is Enrico Pobre. Hanggang sa muli. Magandang gabi.